What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here with another Tottenham update, and we got those three beautiful words from Fabrizio Romano today. Maybe not who we all anticipated or who we all wanted, which we'll get onto in a little bit. But actually, first and foremost, Vinai and some minutes of the June Fan Advisory Board meeting has come out last night and today. And there was just one key point on it that I wanted to bring up from George Sessions, who says that it would seem that Spurs' sporting director search has been put on the back burner, according to Vinay Venkatesham's statement in the June Fan Advisory Board meeting. Also states that Rafi Mawson, who is now the head of Director of Football Operations, his role will include recruitment. So it looks like we're not going to be bringing in a sporting director.
Well, it looks like this Rafi Mawson guy has been given a lot more control than anticipated. And he's obviously has a lot of experience. He's making a big difference. I read a lot of the notes. Vinay said, if we can get someone who can come in and improve our internal workings or something like that, or if we can come in and get someone who improves us, then we will get them in. But he said we have to do it at the right time. And so he was kind of implying is maybe now is not the right time, which I find quite interesting. This Rafi guy, I mean, he seems to be doing a good job right now. I mean, he's putting money on the table. He's maybe analysed how much money we got to spend, and he's release the coffers, as they say. And it seems as though Tottenham are willing to spend a lot more money, and we're willing to get deals done a lot more efficiently, quickly, willing to put money on the table to get our top targets. So let's see what kind of a difference he makes. He did defend Johan Lang quite a lot, Vinay, in his in the minutes. He was saying how Johan is a big reason why Roberto's here, and he's doing a good job, and he basically just defending him. But he did say there's someone who can come in and help us and improve us. He claims as well any stories of anyone we've spoken to or rejected us from a sporting director role is all false, and that's not true. We never spoke to anyone. All the names in the media, I'm guessing he's talking about Sebastian Kell. That was all not true. That's what he was claiming. So wait and see. Look, maybe you're right. Maybe we are going to remain with Johan Lang, but I guess with Rafi, maybe he makes a difference.
Yeah, look, he's got big experience, doesn't he, Rafi Mawson, from his time at the City Group, time at Manchester City. And I think his time back on there is looked at quite fondly by his peers. So step in the right direction with him. Looks like he's doing a good job. And yeah, it's kind of as I thought with Johan Lang. But time will tell, won't it? Time will tell. We'll see how it all plays out. But at this moment in time, it looks like the sporting director role has been put on a back burner. Let's talk about the here we go then, because we got the here we go for Martin Dubravka, as he has come in as our backup number 2. We told you yesterday that the talks were advanced. Fabrizio Romano says, Martin Dubravka to Tottenham. Here we go. Deal agreed with former Burnley and Manchester United goalkeeper to join Tottenham. Move complete today with Dubravka set to be backup to Antonin Kinski. Yeah, interesting. He says Manchester United backup keeper and not Newcastle. I mean, surely his time in the game is more to Newcastle. But anyway, look, like I said yesterday, no problems with it whatsoever. Happy Kinski is our number 1 now. And I always thought the best course of action was to bring in a kind of older keeper that would be happy to play second fiddle. And Dubravka's a decent Premier League keeper.
Yeah, and he was quite good at Burnley last season. I have to say, he did make a lot of good saves. He showed he could still play at Premier League level to quite a good standard. Obviously, Burnley did have a game relegated. It wasn't exactly like he was one of the most outstanding keepers, but with that, you're looking for a backup keeper who's willing to play second fiddle. So you're going to have to get someone who's getting to the last stage of their career. It's done with many other teams. So I think Dubravka's a pretty stable backup. I think if Kinski was to pick up any sort of long-term injury, I would be concerned. But let's just hope we don't cross that bridge, and let's hope Kinski can stay fit. And I think this is a massive vote of confidence for Kinski. There's a lot of trust being put in him. And it just goes to show what an impression he's made. And to be fair to Kinski, you've got to look back on those 7 games. And as much as the performances were amazing, you've also got to remember how much pressure he was under. Because not just the thought of Atletico Madrid, but also the the reality of relegation and how difficult that was for everyone. It was very difficult for everyone throughout the whole season. You know, how many managers were talking about the weight of relegation weighing down on these players? Yet Kinski comes in with De Zerbi at a similar time, and he just didn't put a foot wrong. And with considering how fine the margins were at that point in the season, it was incredible, actually, when you think about it, how amazing he was in those 7 games. And to think about that earned him a number 1 spot now at this club is incredible for him. And I'm really interested and looking forward to how he develops and gets on, because you thought when he first signed for 12 million, obviously it looked like we've got a talented keeper. But we weren't sure if he was going to be anywhere near ready for number 1 just yet. And now we sit here 18 months later and he's been giving the number 1 shirt. So credit to him and welcome to Dubravka. I'm hoping he's probably going to play some early cup games and only hopefully not too many Premier League games. So hopefully in a weird way, hopefully we don't get to see him too much because something's probably gone wrong. But yeah, let's see how he gets on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what would have impressed Roberto De Zerbi the most, even more than his shot stopping and even more than his playing out back, is his mental strength. Because, you know, that mental strength is just massive. To come back from getting taken off after 15 minutes, after 2 clangers in the Champions League, to do what he's done and now to have the number 1 shirt, I think is massive. I think it really is massive. And his confidence, you saw his confidence grow game on game as he was, the number 1 keeper at the back end of last season. Even when Vicario came back, he was still number 1. And now his confidence is going to go sky high as he's given the official number 1 jersey. And yeah, he's probably going to get the number 1 shirt, isn't he? Where Vicario leaves.
If Vicario, which we'll have to wait and see what happens with Vicario. I'm sure he's going to leave, which we'll talk about. But yeah, he'll get the number 1 shirt and fully deserved. And it's a great story. It's a great redemption story for him. And I am delighted for him. Absolutely. I think he does deserve it within himself. Now, we'll have to wait and see whether he's good enough to be our number 1 or whether he's going to need upgrading in the next year or so. But I think he's worth giving a shot. I think he's earned that shot himself with his end to the season. So fair play to him. I thought, we were being a bit ruthless this summer. Well, we are. I think we are being ruthless. And I thought Kinski was going to fall under that. I think the idea maybe was to go for Verbruggen. I wonder whether we're put off by what is a massive price tag. Some people are saying some sort of record fee for Verbruggen, and maybe we're thinking, is it worth spending a massive fee on Verbruggen, or do we give Kinski a go, who could likely be the solution? So I think I understand the pathway they've gone down. So I'm willing to give it a go for sure.
Yeah, that's always the way I thought about it. That's what I said to you, a month ago. Like, I don't feel like there's a point spending this massive fee on a goalkeeper unless he's like one of the best like unless he's a Donnarumma or someone like that, like top of the top of his game. So that's the way De Zerbi sees it. And there's so many more key areas that we need to focus on. There's no need adding another one and big money for the goalkeeping situation unless it's a desperate need, and I don't think it is. So big up to Antonin Kinski, big up to Martin Dubravka. They're going to be the goalkeeping union alongside Brandon Austin for next season. But let's talk about Guillermo Vicario. Fabrizio Romano says Vicario is set to leave Tottenham with Italian clubs keen on the goalkeeper. Juventus are informed in case Martinez's price doesn't drop, and Napoli monitoring Vicario if they can sell a goalkeeper this summer, as he's one of the names on the shortlist. So, I mean, this Vicario situation doesn't progress. It's like the same update over and over again for like the last couple of months. So hopefully something gives at some point.
Well, now we've signed a keeper, that makes things very, very clear what's happening, I think, in my opinion. So if it doesn't leave anything to doubt. I know there's been a lot of talk about Vicario, and even De Zerbi at the end of last season was like, yeah, Vicario is still my number 1 and all that kind of stuff. But the fact that Kinski retained a spot, I think, goes to show where Vicario's future truly lies. And it's a hard one, not a hard one, but it's with Vicario, it's kind of like he had a good 2 seasons and then it just fell off really badly last season, and that's obviously cost him his number 1 spot. but I think it's best for all parties. He'll end up leaving, whether it be permanently or on loan if we can't get the fee that we want. And he goes to Italy and maybe a loan with an option. He won't be at Tottenham next season. And part of me is sad about it because I do love his enthusiasm. And, remember when he first signed, he was like, I would have signed for Tottenham in blood. He said I would have walked to Tottenham and signed. He was so passionate about being at Spurs. And there was a time where he was brilliant and he was, everyone was going raving about him and everyone was really excited about him. But yeah, unfortunately, it kind of like he started like a house on fire and then little flaws started getting exposed and they just kept kind of growing, these flaws, and it never went away and they kept getting worse, unfortunately, some of them. And it culminated in the reality of now he ain't going to be, we want to sell him, in fact. So, yeah, I mean, there was even points last season, like we were like, he played some bad games, then he came back and was like, I remember he had this stretch of like 5-6 games, he was man of the match. He was amazing. He was like, why are we even talking about Vicario? He's a great keeper. Obviously, he's our number one. But maybe it was the hernia that has really done it for him. Maybe without that hernia, maybe it wouldn't have cost him his place. I wonder if what would have happened if we didn't play through it or get it. But that is what happened. He had that problem, and during that time, he went through a really bad stretch of form. Kinski came in, and then that can happen sometimes. You lose your place, someone comes in and smashes it, and then you never get it back, and that can happen in football.
Yeah, I always felt like Vicario wasn't the keeper for De Zerbi. I just don't think his what De Zerbi wants from a keeper, it's not a Vicario strength. He wants players to have a real strength at ball playing, and we saw that he can clip the ball to his fullback and to a decent level, but what Kinski can do with the ball at his feet is it's different kettle of fish, isn't it? Completely different. Do you remember that game when Kinski made his debut against Liverpool in the Cup? And the whole stadium was just wowing at every time that he kicked the ball because it's just like something we haven't seen in so long. But Vicario is just not at that level, and I think De Zerbi needs that. He does need that. So I think regardless of form, I think he still probably would have looked to move Vicario on, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's true.
Next up, let's talk about Matheus Fernandes. So on Fernandes, Fabrizio Romano says that Fernandes has opened the doors to both Manchester United and Tottenham. Now it's up to the clubs. Clear feelings on Matheus Fernandes. Deal is that whoever ends up bringing up the best financial proposal will land the player. I mean, surprise, surprise. And Jacob Steinberg says that Tottenham are now pushing for both Tonali and Matheus Fernandes. Newcastle demanding a huge fee, and Tottenham are prepared to beat Manchester United on the finances. So these deals are just moving a bit too slowly for my liking. I need the conclusions of both of them, man.
Well, strap in because I don't think they're going to be tied up just yet. We'll have to wait and see for the next few days, hopefully. Obviously, we're all very impatient, aren't we? We all want the bomber. We all want it immediately. But these are massive tens of millions of pound deals, hundreds of £1 million deals, some of them. So they take time sometimes. They can't just be wrapped up within a few days. But when it comes to Fernandes, I mean, it's a very encouraging update, even from Romano. If he's saying it's the better financial package, I mean, does that lean towards Tottenham? Because are we willing to put more money up front? Oh, do we give the better financial package? We're talking about apparently Tonali. We're willing to, blow a lot of teams out of the water for wages when it comes to him. Is the same also true of Matheus Fernandes as well? Are we willing to blow Man United out of the water when it comes to wages? There's a lot of talk of Tottenham willing to put more money up front than Man United when it comes to making the bid to West Ham. And what's his name? Mike Keegan said that Spurs are already at the higher end in their bid of what Man United are prepared to pay for Matheus Fernandes. So if that's our opening offer or opening kind of inquiry, then maybe we're willing to go even higher than Man United. So I think the signs are really, really promising for where this is at. There's also, I mean, we haven't heard too many positive updates from Man United side recently. That is also quite encouraging. All the talk of we're not going to get hijacked from Tottenham, all this kind of stuff. I mean, all the arrows are pointing towards Tottenham at this very moment in time. As I know in football, things change very, very quickly, so you can never get too comfortable. But if I'm looking at the deal at the moment, Tottenham have the potentially offering the better financial package. Apparently, he's open to coming, and he wants to stay in London as well. Not to say that if Man United bid higher than us and they come in with a better financial package, he wouldn't go there. But I'm just saying he would like to stay in London. That's a good consideration. I mean, all of a sudden, Tottenham are looking more and more likely by the day. If we can get him and Tonali, as we said, what a deal that would be. And I think Fernandes has done so well at West Ham, even in a struggling West Ham. So imagining putting him in a functioning side, what he might look like. But I mean, if we can pinch Fernandes off Man United and hijack this deal, that would show a real sign of intent. And maybe clubs will start watching their back and maybe take Tottenham a bit more seriously in this market. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing. But
I'm just sitting here smiling because I'm just like, how with 2 17-place finishes, no European football next season, are we able to blow clubs out the water, especially clubs like Manchester United, who have, a history of being big on players. They've got Champions League football now. Higher package last year for Semenyo with Manchester City. I mean, what has happened to Tottenham Hotspur? I'm just in shock and in awe of how this is all playing out.
I wouldn't be in awe just yet. We have to get these over the line first. But 100%, I think, I mean, if you listen to the IFAB meetings with Vinay, it gives you a little insight into what's been changing and what the intentions are. And obviously we've heard from Mike Keegan and other people around football have been shocked, they've been saying, by Tottenham's approaches to some of these deals this summer compared to how they've been approaching deals previously. So I think definitely a part of it is that this last season, especially that 17th place finish when it went, we were one game away from being relegated. That must have really scared the life out of them. And if we weren't going to change after that, when were we? If you know what I mean. So, but there was always the intention, I think, from this club to change post Levy, and they've made that very, very clear. Obviously, they haven't had the opportunity to put that into action, and we've all been very skeptical of how true it is, considering how bad January was. But maybe there is some truth to it. We have to wait and see. Mm. And what gives me encouragement is even if something doesn't go right with these deals, it gives me a little bit of hope that whoever we go for next will be of a similar caliber.
Let's see how it plays out. But next up, let's talk about Somerville. As Jacob Steinberg said that Tottenham now understood to be considering a move for West Ham winger Crescencio Somerville this summer, as Somerville has no desire to drop down to the Championship. But this is following on SZY obviously reporting yesterday or a couple of days ago saying that Somerville has no interest in joining Tottenham. Maybe he's looking and chatting to his mate Matheus Fernandes, being like, you know what, Tottenham actually mean business this year. Maybe Matheus Fernandes can swing him round.
Well, Jacob Steinberg's report doesn't say that he's interested. He says Tottenham are interested in him. Doesn't say that somebody wants to come. So they don't counteract each other. But
I'm assuming if Somerville's not interested, Spurs would not be weighing up a move anymore.
Yeah, but Steinberg's report just says Tottenham are one of several clubs. Doesn't say anything specific about Tottenham making the move. So it does include Tottenham in it, but I wouldn't read too much into that. I do think, by the way, he would be interested. I don't believe that this report from SZY. I don't know where it's come from. Why would he not want to come to Spurs if we're on the table? Unless there are just he's got such an abundance of offers that all the clubs are so much better than Tottenham that he would not even worth considering. I think if we agree a deal with West Ham and there's not and they haven't got a deal agreed with anyone else, I think he would consider us. I don't see why not. I think we would. I don't think he would refuse to come to Tottenham. I just don't see that being a possibility. I think he would come to Tottenham if the opportunity arose. Obviously, if we've also got a bit deal agreed and maybe a United or other clubs do, then maybe it goes in a different direction. But in terms of this theory that he's not interested in Tottenham, I don't know if I believe that. Totally. But he does clearly have a lot of interest this summer, because he's in hot form, great World Cup. I think, put him in another level I think there's a really good player in there. We saw that last season. I think whether he's a top winger, I don't know, or just a good winger. That's kind of I'm not 100% sure. I think he's shown he can be a very good winger at the very least.
Would you sign him ahead of Savinho?
I think I think he's probably, as I said, he might be a better player right now, but I think Savinho's pretty close to him, and I think Savinho gives you ability, I think, to play both wings at a good level, and he's more creative. So I'll rather sign Savinho plus another one than go for Somerville, in my opinion. I think Savinho offers you, in that role of being super good at dribbling and creative, I actually think he offers you a bit more. But Somerville, I think, is more of a threat when it comes to his ability to, get shots on goal, and I think he's a bit more of a goal threat than Savinho. I think Savinho is probably a bit of a better dribbler than Somerville, but Somerville is obviously a really good dribbler as well. I think I would just side with Savinho, especially I think there's probably going to be a bidding war at the moment with Somerville.
I do think Somerville's ahead right now, and I think De Zerbi's building a team for the here and now and something that can do actually something next season. And I think probably Somerville is better placed right now to come into the team and hit the ground running than a Savinho.
I don't know. I think right now Savinho does things better than Somerville. I think, as I said, I think Somerville is probably a little bit ahead in terms of his as an overall player, but I think they're very close, and Savinho's a bit younger, and I think he offers what we want in that kind of wing a bit more than Somerville. I think, for me, you get Savinho, and then you get a player like a Rashford or a Gakpo or whatever, who's a bit more effective in the final third. I think Somerville, he doesn't quite meet either. I think he's not that effective yet in the final third, although he's growing. And he's not like the most creative, I find. I think Savinho is a very, very good creator, but he's not so great when it comes to maybe some decision making or his shooting ability, where Somerville's a bit more balanced in that he's quite decent in effectiveness and he's quite decent creatively, but he's not like kind of the upper echelon. So I feel like Savinho might be when it comes to his creativity. So I kind of feel like I'd
let's
with him.
Finish off. I mean, me personally, I like both of them, but I just think Somerville's more ready-made right now, so I'd probably just about side with him, but I wouldn't be against bringing them both to the club. But there has been some sort of silly report saying that Arsenal are now looking at Savinho, but that's probably just a hurry up Tottenham. And last but not least, let's talk about Manuel Solomon. Alistair Gold has said that De Zerbi has told Manuel that he is not part of his plans ahead of next season, and that he can only 6 competitive games Manuel Solomon has played for Spurs, and no manager has ever fancied him. I thought maybe De Zerbi might have a look at him because he has had him before and did very well for him at Shakhtar. But yeah, it's no real surprise really. It's
not a shock. We're looking to sign lots of wingers. We don't have the luxury of relying on Manuel Solomon right now, unfortunately. He hasn't. I mean, he's done okay at Fiorentina, but didn't pull up any trees. Obviously, the Leeds loan was really good, but that was in the Championship. I think Tottenham are looking to sell a lot of players as well, looking to get a bit of money. I think Solomon's on that list. It's no surprise to anyone. He was never going to be in our plans. He was never really going to get an opportunity, I don't think. I just think we're looking beyond him at the moment. We're looking for a higher caliber. And as much as Solomon, as a free transfer at the time, maybe made sense. Right now, he was a punt, and unfortunately, no real fault of his own, but it just hasn't worked out at Tottenham, and I don't think we can afford. I mean, if he smashed it at Fiorentina and made himself unavoidable when it came to selection, then maybe, but he didn't, and I think it's too much of a risk to put him in the first team right now. Just when we're looking for high caliber midfielders, where would he fit in? I don't see it.
Yeah, there's no natural fit for him. I do think if he wouldn't have got that injury, 6 games into the season under Ange in his first season, maybe things could have been a bit different because there were a couple of decent games in there, but he did get that injury, and then the rest is history, and we just never could keep him fit. So let's hope Manuel finds a good club for him. And yeah, good luck to the future, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Hopefully we get some more information regarding Tonali and Matheus Fernandes a bit later on today. But thank you everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.